Hello, all Hoosier fans, Hoosier haters, and everyone in between. This is the Crimson Coliseum podcast. And on today's episode, it's Thursday, August 29th, and that means football is here finally after so many days of waiting. We've got a Big Ten play starting today. We got Deion Sanders going up against the best FCS program in the country in North Dakota State.
Hmm.
It's going to be very fun. But today, we're going to be talking about IU's first and also Kurt Cignetti's first game of the season whenever they host the Florida International Panthers. For the people that like to bet a lot, IU is a 22-point favorite going into this game, and the over/under is about just 51 and a half points. And it's just a battle of, oh God, it's not going to be it's this should be an easy win. This is the take yes, take the under. We must take the under. But it's just the easy non-con games going into the season, but also starting out with the 100, just to talk about that real quick. Their show is their band day show, which is a favorite among all the high schoolers because they get to actually perform with the band. They're paying Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones, I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, then America the Beautiful. Granted, I think whenever we played uh, All Star and uh,
Yep.
Never Going to Give You Up,
Yep.
that was probably the best year.
That was
Fully.
good. That was good.
But with me today is a someone that I really respect and I looked up to whenever I was in college. Someone that I shared the same major with, but a year ahead of me from Bloomington, Indiana, and now high school coach, golf coach, Darin Woodley.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So you're coaching at Bloomington South or North?
Correct. So South, I went to North and then kind of made the transition over here last year. So
Oh, that's
I know it's a
you gotta
different.
you gotta hide your Bloomington North gear.
I know, man. Now it's straight purple. So hey, I like it.
But yeah, I think granted we had probably the most stressful time watching it because we do a lot of what's going on and we didn't like any of it what's going on when we were
Yeah, no
there.
doubt. No doubt. Yes.
But I really like just because you took the same major as me, I really was like, I gotta figure out what Darren does a lot. I gotta just do that.
Sure.
And now here I am doing this, working three part-time jobs until I get an actual uh full-time position somewhere. But
Hey man, that's what you got to do. It's a great major. I enjoy doing it. But it's also very wide aspect. There's a lot of different jobs you can get with it and can be pretty competitive. So I mean, you'll find something you enjoy. This isn't exactly, I guess, under the sports marketing or whatever, but um, you'll find something. You'll be good.
yeah.
It just takes time.
And probably one of the more rare majors to be in marching band, sports marketing and
Yeah,
management.
yeah. Honestly, there were maybe what, five of us, maybe.
I think, yeah, it was like us two and then maybe a couple others.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but to get back on track, some history about Florida International. They opened in 1972, so just about as old as our soccer team. Uh, they play in what is now called Pit Bull Stadium and have been since the 2004 season. Their overall record is 84 and 154. They've been to five bowl games and won two of them. The 2010 Little Caesars Bowl and the 2018 Bahamas Bowl. They're
Most,
0
and both of those are wins at IU. They have more bowl wins than IU does have recently.
Yeah. Imagine if Penix never got hurt.
I know.
Just say the year and then imagine if he didn't get
Yeah,
hurt.
I know.
That's how that felt. But
Yep,
I think he's gonna probably start in Atlanta in about give or take 5 weeks because I don't think Cousins is gonna be able to stay healthy. But that's just me.
that's fair.
He's like 39 coming off that's what 35 coming off an Achilles injury. I don't know if he's gonna
Yeah,
do well. Same with
Yeah.
Rodgers, but that's beside the point. But their record against Indiana is 0-3. This is their fourth game they played against the Hoosiers, and their probably most successful football alumni is an Indiana great, T.Y. Hilton, former
Yeah.
Colts legend. And I think this should be an easy game for the Hoosiers. Just this is a section I'm going to be doing where I'm just going to list off where each team ranks in their conferences.
Yep.
I'll do Indiana. Darren will do Florida International. But last year, since this is the first week, we're doing last year. But once we get into week two, we'll be doing it from this current season. Last year, Indiana offensively was actually pretty middle of the pack. Ninth in points per game with about a little over 22. Eighth in yards, about 333 yards per game. Seventh in passing, 10th in rushing yards. And then third down efficiency, they were eighth in the Big Ten with about 37.5%. And they were fifth in attempts with about 168 attempts. They were getting the third downs a lot, but they were able to get past them, which I think was a part of the reason why the offense was pretty good.
Sure.
But the defense is the other another side of the story. If you had like a decent offense, you probably would have a decent level defense. But if you're gonna have a defense this rough, you probably have to go anti-Iowa and just have the best
Hmm.
offense in the country to counteract it. But uh, defensively, second to last in points per game, with giving up 30 points per game. Nearly 400 yards, most in the Big Ten. Uh, 237 passing yards, 156 rushing yards. Eighth in the Big Ten in third down percentage allowed, which is about 36%, which is good, but second to last in third down attempts at 158, which, well, yeah, second to last. So they weren't getting to that third down mark to be able to stop them. But yeah, Indiana finished 3-9, won the conference, but I think they're going to be a lot better this year because if you look at probably five of those games, those five of them could have been wins. Louisville could have been a win.
Yeah.
Penn State on the road,
Yes.
and the last three, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan State, and Purdue easily could have
Yeah.
been wins.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think looking at some of those that I've highlighted on there. So, 332 yards per game is not bad. You know, passing at 212, I think, even though that's seventh, I would like that to be probably more in the 260 plus range
Yeah.
to be up there. 120 rushing. I'm kind of surprised that's 10th, but uh, that's not awful. But then obviously the third down attempts, like you said, um, fifth in the Big Ten. That means we are getting to a lot of third downs, which not always a positive.
Yeah.
But and then on the defensive side of the ball, 13th in the Big Ten at passing at 237. I don't see that as a huge red flag. I think that's pretty normal. But the 156 rushing is obviously the big key, which is also
But
13th, which is
if
interesting.
if I remember correctly, Purdue has had a worse passing offense. Northwestern had a worse rushing offense,
Mm,
rushing defense. So I
yeah,
think that's the way. It was either that or the other way around. Because
sure.
but but yeah, uh, it'll be cool to see what this team looks like this year with a fully overhauled team.
Yeah.
I think we recently just saw who the starting goal line is going to be, which
Okay.
I
Yep.
like it because I I value consistency with an O line.
Yes.
Um,
When there's a lot of turnover with the O line or they're getting hurt, it's really hard to have a productive offense, especially running game. Well, I mean running game, but also the quarterback is running for his life. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, you're right. I mean, we look at this team and it's obviously completely different. New seems to be new quarterback, some new running back. It seems like Elijah Surratt from James Madison is going to be a good receiver.
Hmm.
Uh, he definitely is on the video game. So,
I
but
haven't been able to play that yet.
really,
I just don't
No,
have the console for it.
that's fair. But no, I mean, it will be way different. I mean, when we put what Taven in at the end of the year or halfway through or whatever we did, the consistency I think got better.
Mm.
Uh, Curtis Rourke, you know, seems to be okay. So I would think, you know, a lot of this team has played together. Obviously, the running back, wide receiver, and a couple, and obviously a lot of other positions have played together, so that helps.
So yeah,
Um, you know,
it looks like Trey Wedding's going to be the only transfer that's going to be on that starting O line. It looks like it's going to be Carter Smith, Drew Evans, Mike Kadich, Bray Lynch, and then Trey Wedding
okay,
to start.
yeah,
And
yeah. So
then
yeah,
I think the receiver core is going to be nice. I've said
yeah,
it before, but it looks good. That D line's gonna be nasty.
hmm
It's like
yeah.
very high on that. Our two linebackers that we got, Fisher and Walker, are gonna be absolutely nuts, and I'm here for it.
Oh, no doubt. That's I think we're going to see some good stuff. Obviously, you said the line 22. It's possible we could win 22. I'm not sure in the first game of the season. Uh, it's
Yeah,
possible. My I don't know. I had 38-21 as the score.
yeah.
So
I had 38, 35-14. Like I could easily see this being a blowout, but I could also see it easily being much closer to start out because new system, new
yeah,
team, and everything.
yep,
Because outside of McCauley,
yeah.
outside of that O line, um, you got McCauley, Linnell Carr, Amari Farrell, Jamari Sharp, and Drew and James Evans as the only returning player starting.
Mm, yep,
This
yeah,
is just from our lads who does a lot
sure.
of those a lot of that stuff because it looks like starting receivers is going to be Surratt, McCauley, and then Miles Price, and
It's a good,
then
yeah,
we got Zach Horton at tight end and Justin Nelson at running back.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I like it. I think there's a lot of good possibilities there. Should have some good consistency, I would think.
yeah. And speaking of like IU guys, just the stat leaders returning, well, not returning because we don't have many returning players, but for IU last season, Curtis Rourke, whenever he was at Ohio, finished his latest season with about 195 for 307 passing completions, 2,207 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. For rushing, Kalen Black, who played at James Madison, 142 attempts, 637 yards, and a touchdown. Elijah Surratt had 82 receptions, 1191, nearly 1,200 yards, and 8 touchdowns. On the defensive side of things, you got Aiden Fisher in tackling, 51 solo tackles, 108 total, with 6 for loss. For sacks, Mikhail Kamara, uh, 18 and a half tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. And then that pass defense, D'Angelo Pons had 2 interceptions, but 13 passes defended.
Mm,
And even though he's a little undersized, I think Pons is going to be a bright spot in a weak secondary.
mm,
Only 5'9", 170, but
wow,
from what I've heard in camp, he has put everyone in an island.
good. Yeah, that's what I like to see. The stats, like you said, 195, 307, that's fine, about 50%. Uh, 2,200 yards, not bad. The 11 touchdowns to 5 picks, not bad. I think he's going to have more talent at IU, so the touchdowns will definitely go up from that, I would think.
Yeah,
Uh, the running back, Kalen Black, it's a 4.4 average a yard. That's not bad. Uh, Obviously, I mean, you do that twice and you're right there, so that's fine.
yeah,
Um, but then, yeah, the defense as well. There's some good numbers there. So Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, just consistency and
Yeah.
staying healthy. Staying healthy, the biggest thing.
Yeah, that is with Indiana. That
Yeah,
is
no
uh
doubt.
like like we've been even been able to poke fun at it too.
Hmm. Yeah,
But just staying healthy. It feels like it's an Indiana thing, not just an IU thing. It feels like it's an
true.
Indiana thing with injuries
Yeah,
because Colts and Pacers,
yeah,
like, when are we gonna get healthy? It's like
yeah.
who's going to get hurt and when, not really
Right.
if. Um, IU, yeah. Feels
Hmm.
like Notre Dame's been like the only one to really evade that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing.
They use the power of Rudy. Yeah.
So yeah, so then kind of turning to FIU here. Uh, 4-8 last year, 1-7 in the conference, USA. Uh, so offensively, 20 points a game, seventh in the conference. Yards per game, 319, which is eighth. So both of those numbers are equivalent to IU. Now, way different conferences, but same type of deal.
Yeah. And it's also
Um,
out of nine schools too, so
uh, that would be different. Uh, let's see. So yeah, passing 229, that's fourth. All right, that's not bad. Rushing 90.3. Okay, probably want to be above 100. Third down percentage, yeah, 28.4%. That's not going to get it done.
they're gonna be hearing Jaws
Um,
in their nightmares real quick.
yeah, every possession. Third down attempts 169. All right. And then defensively, yeah, 31 points a game. So I mean, if you're averaging what, 22 or yeah, 20, well, you're probably not
Yeah.
going to win. You're not going to win a lot if you're giving up 11 more each game. So and then 436 yards per game is pretty bad, especially with 190 rushing. That's not very good. Uh, third down percentage 40th on defense and attempts 170th. So, uh, some interesting numbers there. Obviously, weaker conference in the Big Ten, like you said, less teams. Um,
I think they
you
just
know,
added Kennesaw State this year, so they're now up to
mm,
10.
okay, yeah, ever evolving. It seems like every year. But overall, again, I think both teams you got to get back into the routine. IU, like you said, IU could end up winning by 28 or whatever. I think both teams might start out slow, but like we said in that prediction, I have them winning by about 17 and Alex has them by 21. So both under that betting line. But I think that's possible. And then quickly here, the stat leaders. So Kaon Jenkins is their quarterback. He had 11 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, which obviously is not going to be very good if you're equal there.
Yeah.
Rushing 125 attempts for 566, four touchdowns. Then we got Dean Patterson at 423 yards, one touchdown. So
Yeah,
obviously,
they lost a lot of good talent in the receiving core. They had a 1,000-yard receiver last year. I think he went to the
mm,
NFL. So
oh wow, okay, yeah. So tackling wise, 101 total tackles, and then pass defending is a three interception, three passes defended. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, obviously not a lot of return there, and not some great numbers, but hey, you never know what can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, this is college football after all.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So, yeah,
I don't think we'd be here. Well, the college football would be the way it is today without Appalachian State beating Michigan. The ripple
yeah,
effect on that's very interesting. I might do an episode on that.
yeah,
Um, because with that play, that basically allowed the Big Ten network to happen,
mm, mm,
and which, yeah.
you're right. Yeah,
But
that's huge.
one thing I saw today, Reggie Peterson, their leading tackler that's coming back, 101 total tackles. Apparently, he was from an area that their first offer would be Indiana, and he never got that
Wow.
offer.
Mm,
So he'll be playing with extra motivation to
no doubt.
get some stuff done
No doubt.
there. But this is a going to be good matchup, I think, for Indiana.
Yeah.
Uh, they said that Jenkins is a mobile quarterback. He's able to move the pocket a little bit.
Okay.
Um, so this is with how what happened with the Akron game with mobile quarterbacks is a good
Yeah.
test. But
Yeah, for real.
yeah, and as I said before, I think Indiana's going to finish 8-4. They should win this game easily. They should beat
Hmm.
Western Illinois. The big test for this team will be week 3 at UCLA.
Right. I I think, we've had these games in the past. Last year it was Louisville kind of being the huge momentum game where should have won that and did not. Obviously, a few years ago with Cincinnati, that was going to be another huge momentum. And we kind of got, I think, screwed with the
Oh,
targeting.
oh yeah.
Uh, but
Apparently,
no, yeah, you're
yeah.
right. I mean, 2-0, you got UCLA week 3. So that's the big test. But you look at the first 6 games, and I mean, the ceiling, like we talked about, my ceiling is probably 8-4.
Yeah,
Um,
I probably this is ceiling at 10-2. I made the joke
okay.
about 12-0, but I think the ceiling for this team is 12-2, just because I don't think we're beating Michigan or Ohio State
Yeah.
unless like Michigan completely gets sanctioned to all hell and back with all this Connor Stallion stuff.
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
theoretically it could.
Yeah. It's possible. If they play well, and obviously that's always an if, but it's really possible to start the season 6 or 7-0. I know that's
Hmm.
asking a lot, but with the first 7 games, the hardest opponent you're going to have is at UCLA, and then I guess at Northwestern. But even then,
Yeah, like I would like I think I said in my predictions I had IU's first loss at Northwestern
okay,
just simply because with how small the stadium is, it's gonna be
hmm,
hard for a lot of even though Chicago's a big IU alumni
yeah,
base. I don't know how many IU fans are gonna be able to be there, and I think that's gonna be a really underrated home field environment just because of how small it is. Kind of like how the Idaho Dome is a really good home field environment.
that's
Very
fair.
small, very compact.
Is that stadium done yet at Northwestern?
No, no, they're going to be playing at the temporary one for like at least this year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so yeah, that's spot. I see that. So with you saying that, that is 5-1 to start the year.
Like,
Um,
and then
and
you get
you
Nebraska
just
homecoming.
right. You just got to win one more game to get to a bowl game. But I don't know really what to expect with Washington. New coach, new
Yeah,
quarterback, new wide receiver.
I think I had them losing that game. I had them beating Nebraska.
Okay,
Granted,
yep,
because I want to see them win
of course.
because I'm heading up for homecoming.
Okay,
I've already got that registered. Just
good,
got to get the uniform and everything like that.
sure.
But um, I think Washington's going to be a tricky one. Michigan and Ohio State are obviously going to be losses.
Yeah,
And then you got Purdue at home for the bucket.
I know.
Like,
that could be 9 wins. That could be 8 wins. I don't know, but we've gone into that Purdue game so many times at 5-6. Both
and
of
just
us and Purdue, both at 5-6, and having to win that.
yeah,
Um, I don't see that this year, honestly. I don't. So
yeah.
I
I
think
think
something would have to go really wrong.
yeah, all three people last week's episode, me, Greg, and Jack, all predicted Purdue to be last of the conference.
I think that's
Like,
fair.
I think their ceiling is 6-6. Like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because the spoiler makers are real.
Yeah,
That they might get an upset on like a Notre Dame at home, but with Purdue's schedule, it's ridiculous. Like all their winnable games are on the road,
mm,
and all their really hard games are at home.
of course, Of course. Did they
So
still have do they still have Hudson Card as the quarterback?
I think I'm not totally for sure.
I wasn't sure if he was still at Purdue or not. It says he's active, so it looks like he
Okay,
might be. He might be.
yeah, because like Indiana State, I think it's going to be the only win, but Notre Dame, Oregon State on the road, Nebraska at home, Wisconsin on the road, Illinois on the road, Oregon at home,
Mm,
Northwestern at home. Northwestern could be a possible Big Ten win. Uh, Ohio State on the road, Penn
yeah,
State at home, Michigan State on the road, and then Indiana.
you're right.
So
You're
yeah,
right.
six
Yeah, that's yeah,
brutal.
that is tough. So yeah, kind of along those lines, I think we had you said it, but I think you had what Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, and Iowa in your top four.
Yeah. Um, I think Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan are, well, did I say Michigan or did I say USC? I can't remember. I think I said Michigan, but I want to make
Mm,
sure I am right in what I'm saying. Um,
USC, yeah, yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
US, um,
I don't know how they're
but
going to fare with their new quarterback. He's
oh,
fine, but
Penn State, not Michigan, Penn
oh,
State.
sure, sure,
Um, I had Iowa above Michigan, but I think Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State are going to make the CFP. And the other reason why I
okay,
don't think Iowa makes it is just because they're starting 25th and they don't have a schedule that could get them to the CFP unless Iowa State does
undefeated.
well. Unless they go undefeated or Iowa State does really well
Yeah,
or one of their non-con or someone else does super well to warrant them to get that. Because with how the CFP is, I doubt they're going to give four teams to the Big Ten.
sure.
They'll get four to the SEC pretty easily if Bama's four.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
Bama's four, they're giving
yeah,
it to Bama.
yeah. This is a whole new concept. I think the 12 teams. Uh, it's interesting because if you look at previous years of Michigan and Ohio State, that at least lately has pretty much been the decider of one of you is going to go to the playoff, or one of you is going to be in the Big Ten championship game. Now, I mean, they if they're both undefeated, other than Pride, obviously it's a rivalry game. If they're both undefeated and one of them loses, I mean they're in the top 12. They're in the top 10.
Okay.
Um,
Um, we discussed this last week, but I want your opinion on this.
yeah.
If Michigan wins,
Okay.
how hot is Ryan Day's seat?
I think very because it's already been that way. Uh, he they haven't. I mean, well, they haven't won and will be going on 10 years essentially
Hmm.
of a championship since the inaugural season really. But I I don't know. I think some people don't like his play calling and whether they're going to turn that over or not. But you can't lose to Michigan again, especially without Harbaugh there and uh,
Yeah.
JJ. I mean, you can't lose to a essentially first year probably coach, and I
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Because I
he's got
was
to win.
because right now it's still true. Tom Allen has has had a more recent win over Michigan than Ryan Day has.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. I mean,
But
when was the last time Ohio State beat them? Four?
2019, because
Wow.
they didn't play COVID. They didn't play COVID year,
Right. Wow.
and and then Connor Stallions happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I don't see it. Where's the game?
I
Is
think
it at
it's at
Ohio?
I think it's at Ohio State. It's
Yeah.
in
I don't.
it's in
I don't see them losing. I know their quarterback, Will. What's his name? Will Howard.
uh yeah.
I He'll be good enough. They still have playmakers, so I'm not really concerned
Hmm.
about them losing. But if they were for some reason, um, That'd
Yeah,
be
it's like
bad.
it's never really the quarterback that really does move the hump for the Buckeyes. It's usually their skill position players.
Sure.
Um,
But how do you feel about the 12 teams and like just there's some big games to start the season, right? Clemson, Georgia, and like Alabama plays Georgia this year, and Texas plays Georgia, and all these matchups. How big of an emphasis does it really matter if you lose, heck, even two games? Or honestly, if you lose three really close games against amazing opponents, does that even really matter other than trying to win a conference championship?
with how they're doing it, um, they're making it so that if you don't win the conference, it's going to be on campus.
Right.
So it's probably going to be emphasized to at least get the top eight because like
Fair.
the bottom three, because one of them will be the highest ranked at a group of five school.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of those is going to be on the road, which I think is silly. I think if a group of five school, like say like a UCF back in like
Mm-hmm.
2021, I think, or 2019, uh, they probably should have gotten a home game, but I don't know, maybe, but I think it's still important because one, they get the bye to win the
Mm-hmm.
conference.
Sure.
Um, and like probably if you lose one game and you don't win the conference, it sucks if you lost the conference. You should have won the conference, but you also get to host a playoff game.
Right.
So instead of it being at a bowl game, which is neutral site. So
Do you think this true? Do you think this increases the amount of players who will not drop out
yes,
in games? Okay.
because the feeling of playing a playoff game in front of your peers, in front of your fans, is going to be astronomical.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like maybe like a top receiver at like the third or fourth best, the third SEC school would prioritize his health, but and go on. But I think it's going to be more of because this is a rare opportunity for these guys because now with it being 12, it's going to be who like you could play in front of your fans. Like
Well, think about IU like 4 years or whatever when they
yeah,
were ranked.
2020
I mean, geez.
we were 12th. I don't know if we would have made it because I don't know if a group of five was ahead of us or not, but
Right. But remember, we should have been in the Big Ten championship game.
yes, we should have. Absolutely, we should have. Um, we got absolutely robbed.
Yeah.
But we should have won
Right.
that game anyways. We should have won that game.
Yep. Agreed.
But
But
um,
yeah.
Penix played absolutely nuts. I still remember watching it. Two fumbles in the red zone,
Mm,
one on offense, one off of an interception.
yep.
It's just like, what are we doing? What are we
I
supposed to
know.
do?
Well, I still remember remember it was at Ohio State and we were down like 31 to like nothing or 28 to nothing or something. And
Yeah,
we had that final drive to tie the game.
yeah, we had
It
a
was
chance,
crazy. It's crazy.
and it's just that whole season. 2020 was just a weird season, but it was a great
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
So I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, and like with how that season went for the 100 too, with us doing the shows like we had to videotape the shows because of.
Mm,
I
yeah.
still think we could have been able to be at the games if we were socially distant enough.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think, I don't know. It's interesting because obviously, the guys, the players still, I mean, they still play the games.
Yeah.
But
Well,
there was no one in the stadium or 100 people. But
yeah.
um,
And well, it looks like Signetti has been really, from what I heard from Greg, because Greg peeked at behind the curtain, gave a peek a little bit behind the curtain a little bit for pregame,
mm,
but um Signetti's been really in with the 100 too.
hmm.
Um we moved I think Signetti was part of the reason why we moved the walk down
Oh,
where
sure.
it is because and honestly, it's just a better spot, anyways. Um, and then some changes at pregame. Signetti
Hmm.
called in.
Mm,
I had a feeling we were going to make changes anyways, but
yeah.
it seems like Signetti has really been wanting to have up the fan experience.
Huh? I mean, I can see that. I mean, it's, I think that's good. Obviously, he's just going to have to put the winning product on the field, but
Mm,
I think his so far his attitude and um, all that type of stuff is in the right place, and I mean, at least right now, I have no doubt he'll make him fight hard.
yeah. Whenever Signetti like first came in, I was part of that little pep band that went over to the airport
Mm,
and
mm.
played for him. And when he got to the truck, he's like, "I gotta learn the fight song. I gotta learn it. I gotta learn it."
Well, good. I mean, I think it's one cool thing that Saban has always done as he would go to the $1 Million Band, the Alabama marching band's practice, and kind of talk to them. And same with the players. Actually, some of the players would go and they would sing the fight song and they would do stuff like that. You know, whether he really cared or not, I don't know, but it at least gave the impression that Nick Saban cared and he wanted to kind of give that message of gratitude. And I know our AD has always done that. Every year they come to see us, but I think it's at least nice to have someone who appreciates
Hmm.
what we do, and you know, the experience I think would be a lot different without band. So
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I've always considered the 100 as the child of the two of the three biggest draws to Indiana,
okay.
Jacobs and the athletic department,
Mm-hmm.
that really hasn't been looking after by either side of it.
Mm-hmm.
By the other, just
Yep.
but it looks like Signetti's going to be doing a lot to improve it. Terry Morin has been a big supporter of the band.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know whenever last year during senior speeches, Mike Woodson actually shouted out the band. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so
Yeah, it's always nice, and I mean, people notice when the band is, they're always there at basketball games and obviously football games, but when it's a smaller band at basketball or break or whatever, people notice, oh, we miss the loud sound of the band, blah, blah, blah. Like people notice when they're not
mhm.
there. It's a way different feeling, way different pregame, especially. Um,
Yeah, um it'll be interesting to see what happens this year. Um, just from what I've heard with just everything, I think it's going to be really fun to watch. I'll be
mhm.
trying to watch it through the Fox Sports app, but are you going to be there? And well, actually, what restaurant that's coming in to be concessions are you going to get when you go to a game?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, the Buffaloes stuff seems to be a big deal. I mean, um, I've seen, what have I seen? Like breaded tenderloin, I want to say.
Hmm.
Uh, what other? So wings, was wings added?
I feel like there has to be wings added.
I would think. I feel like I saw maybe Aver's Pizza.
Yeah, Aver's Pizza, Yoki's is there,
Yeah.
um, and then like a vegetarian option, I think.
Okay. So that's obviously expanded from just Upland being the
Beer.
provider.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
I think they're with Levy, who
right.
does the stuff with people in Indianapolis.
Hmm.
It's like the Pacers, the Colts, the Fever,
Right.
like they supply stuff like that. So, but it's good to have local places
Hmm.
come in, and I think Buffalo's is actually going to be delivering two tailgates this year too.
Wow. That's big. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
I No, you're good.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Just gonna wrap this up now.
Sure.
Um, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we're ready for football to be back. And Hopefully everyone stays healthy. Please, sweet baby Jesus, please let everyone stay healthy. All right, have a good one.